Gentlemen, today's subject is extremely close to heart and will probably show up a few times as this progresses. Hope you're having a wonderful day or have had a wonderful day. And today's subject is just so extremely important. So extremely important to get, to understand, and of course, in the end, to be able to master. And I will first of all try to go through it and give a few examples that can hopefully be a bit inspiring. And then, of course, give you the tools to actually succeed. And I would say that you can have a physical aspect, you can have a technical aspect in everything that you do, but this is the most important aspect, and it has to do with the mental aspect. Now, we're talking about how surrendering can produce power and how we can release those chains of ours. And for the most time, we see people, players, fighters, no matter if it's sports or just a job, we see them gripping. A lot of people walk around with some form of a grip. It could be in the cheek, it could be in the stomach, it could be in the chest, the back, the shoulders. These are different things that we do and are part of a reaction. Usually a chain reaction. Usually it's because we meet someone that we don't really trust or has done us wrong. We're maybe in a situation that we don't really like, that we're very, very uncomfortable with. But it has to do with stress, nervous system, and all that stuff. And just to make it simple, I think it's good to give an example of how amateur football is. Amateur football is a lot of players actually gripping, a lot of players actually fearing to make a mistake. And that's usually what we have in our different jobs as well. It's about not wanting to make a mistake, and if we do make a mistake, how will people react? And most importantly, sometimes we're not even able to react in a good way ourselves. Now, if we take a player, for example, and how to solve this, and how usually a problem can be solved just by luck or by chance. Now, I've coached players who've had that grip. They have it when they protect the lead. They have it because they don't want to make any mistakes. And they play with chains that nobody can actually see. But sometimes we were down by 5 goals. It was 5-0 to the other team. We were leading 5-0, and the game is simply beyond rescue. No matter what the way it goes, the game is dead. It's 5-0 to us or 5-0 to them. But what happened to these players was that they started to play freely. And at jobs, they started to act freely. They were sharper. They were twice as better. And what I asked them was, What happened? And usually you don't have the answer. You don't always have the answer, but in these cases it's pretty obvious to see that something happened in relation to the score. And what is important to understand there is that the quality, the player that we see, the person that we see when you have nothing to lose is always there. But the grip isn't. The fear isn't. It all ties down to releasing the outcome and only focus on the playing. Because the outcome cannot be decided. And I'm gonna get into how the outcome is something that we don't even have a right to, even if we did all the work. Now, some of you guys might have seen McGregor, the fighter. You might have seen all these Russian fighters. These are quite popular now. You might have known some very good salesmen or people who sit in big positions high up. But with McGregor, for example, he at his peak was talking about chains being released when he walked into the octagon. He felt like the chains were there during training camp. The chains were there during press conferences, when meeting people. And why is that? Well, it's because at training or in training, it is quite difficult to give everything because you're a bit afraid of getting injured. You're a bit afraid of getting sick. You're a bit afraid of doing something wrong that'll, probably have a big effect on the game. But the thing is, a lot of us, we go into the game with that thought. We go into the game with the thought that, oh, I have so much to lose. And that is not the right way to approach it. And it's not even the logical way to approach it. Because actually, in game, we don't have anything to lose. Because if we do lose, if we do make mistakes, it was totally worth it. It was totally worth it because we did it at the right place and in the right time. Which is the game, of course. D-Day. Now, it is never our duty to finish work. A lot of you guys might have projects that you work with. A lot of you guys might have projects that will take years to finish. Now, if it's a personal project, yes, you will be there to see the results. And you know how important it is to work in a good way every day. But if you're working for a company, if you're working for a club, you won't always be there for the results. A lot of us start to work with a company or a club or whatever when they're at nil, zero. We start when they start. They have made zero progress when we're there or before we were there. So if you guys work from step 1 to 3 and I continue the job from 3 to 6, then we might have another 4 steps to number 10, but me and you, we might not be there. Which means that I might have put my soul and time and blood and sweat into something, and I won't be there when it's finished. I won't be there when it's on its top. I might be dead. I might get fired. I might go to a project that is much more interesting. But there are different scenarios. It is not our duty to finish work. It is our duty to do our work until that end. We work until our end, not the end. Because, as you guys know, there is no end. There will always be new projects, new customers, new games. So we play our part. And when we play, we play. We have full commitment, but we have zero ownership of the outcome. Zero. People will make statues, people will get medals, people will do everything. But the next thing is coming. You won't always be forgotten, but you shouldn't care. So, what we have the right to is action. We have the right to action, but never to the fruits. We act fully, but never to the outcomes. What happens, happens. Now, in more modern terms, what we do in a situation like that is that we reach a flow state. We are totally absorbed by our work. But we don't really think about the end. We're in it. And in many ways, we lose ourselves. And that definitely ties into even Bible verses with Matthew 16:25, where he actually says that we have to lose our life to find it. So the principles here are very, very old, will always stick and will always work to the best that we can. Because remember, you're doing the best you can in that situation. You can't decide how many chances you will get. It'll not be fair. It could be totally unfair, but maybe you will be the guy to actually use that, to be the lucky one. if we want to summon this deliberately and how we can work on it, because to understand the principle is to get this for free. Of course, everything is trainable. Of course, you can train your thoughts, and by knowing this, you can start use it, and when you start to use it, you'll one day be able to master it. It'll come automatically, such as the fear came automatically. But progress is the target. That's it. The progress is what we focus on. And day to day, we can decide on what we can execute. I will make 10 calls. I can make 10 calls. I will make 10 calls. And if I make 15, even better. But I'll make 10. That's what I can decide over. Now, what those calls will come to, I don't know. What those shots will come to, I don't know. But I'll take them, because this is what I can expect. And if I don't get those, if I don't have those opportunities, if that didn't go as I wanted, then there are more problems or different problems, and I have to solve those first. Part of the progress or the process, however way you want to put it. Rehearse execution. Rehearse that shot. Train on it. Rehearse that speech or that call. Do not rehearse the outcome. Do not rehearse the sale. Rehearse what you do before the sale. Rehearse what you do before you score that goal. Don't rehearse the goal. That will ruin everything. And it's never the same in our mind as it is in real life. Calm the body. If your body is gripping, if you're a stressed person, if you need 15 coffees to function, you're doing something wrong. I know, and I will talk more about hustle culture, but people talking about that might not be the best guys to look at if you want to have a good life, a happy life, and a good business. But you'll do as you please, and you probably have good examples of it also. But calm the body. No matter how we put it, the body has to calm down in certain situations, and many people would also say in all situations that calm is the best to be. But I'll leave that to you. Notice when you flow away. Notice when you look at the goal more than what you need to do. Because what we need to do is here and now, and we can do it. And the goal, well, we don't even know about that. So what you do is what you focus on, and when you don't focus on it, come back to it. Come back to it. Don't do things that are too hard, and don't do things that are too easy. We'll climb up that mountain, I promise you. But it has to be one step at a time. How many steps you can take that day, you can think about it. Very, very good. Think about that. But come up with a number that'll give you a chance the day after, the week after, the month after. And if you can push those numbers, congratulations. But start with a number that you'll achieve. Don't chase the flow state. The outcome does not have a cost. Everything that we need, we already have. That's why we can do it. Dreams or goals or whatever, these things are feelings. You can sense, you can somehow sense that you can do this. And it's all about keeping that feeling, making it grow stronger even. And that has no cost. You don't have to think a certain way, or you just know deep down that, yeah, this is possible. So release those chains. Start to really play. That would be wonderful to see. Stay dangerous and breathe through your nose.